Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We're going to go ahead and get started. My name is Christy Puckett Williams, and I am the statewide campaign for Smart Justice Manager here at the ACLU. I am going into my third year of working at the ACLU on the campaign for smart justice. And it is an honor to be with you all tonight to induct you into the work that we do in hopefully in meaningful ways that you all feel empowered to engage in deep ways in the community so that we can continue to show up and oftentimes show out in the ways in which we build power. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I'll tell you a little bit about how things are going to work. I am going to be monitoring the chat over here somewhere else so that a black box doesn't appear once I start sharing my screen. But if you put things in the chat, I will not see them because I'll be presenting until I'll take little breaks in between to take a look at the chat. But please save your questions to the end. I'm going to cover the information. It's not a lot of information to cover tonight. We'll just get started on the basics and introduce you to a little bit about what we do and the opportunities that we have coming up. And then you can, after that, we will take any questions that you may have, okay? And you can use either the chat feature or the Q&A feature to ask any questions that you may have. I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen again. All right. So who is the ACLU, y'all? Well, we were founded in 1920, and we were founded by folks who wanted to defend civil rights and civil liberties. And so we've literally been at the forefront of every major battle for equal justice and civil liberties in this country, including marriage equality for interracial and same-sex couples, reproductive access, sentencing reform, separation of church and state, and so much more. And we're really unique because we do have a presence in all 50 states, including Puerto Rico and Washington, D.C., and we handle approximately 1,400 cases at any time. So there could be 1,400 lawsuits going on across the country that the ACLU is involved in at any given time. I have heard it be said at staff conference that the only other people who are in court as much as we are is the Department of Justice, the prosecutors, because they are required to be there. So the ACLU has over 1 million members nationwide, thanks to dedicated supporters like yourselves. And no other non-governmental organization participates in as many U.S. Supreme Court cases as the ACLU. We are both nonpartisan and a nonprofit. So all 52 affiliates file cases in both, a minute, it went back on, I'm sorry. All 52 affiliates file cases in both state and federal courts to advance civil liberties. Our organizers build capacity on the ground with the help of volunteers and coalition partners. Nationally, our Washington Legislative Office lobbies Congress to pass bills that advance or defend civil liberties across the country. And we also here in the state of North Carolina, we work at the General Assembly. Myself, along with my team, I'm on the policy and advocacy team. We are deeply working at the General Assembly here in North Carolina to combat all the really horrible bills that keep getting introduced and to try to introduce bills and get bills introduced that are meaningful and provide relief to the people. So in 1965, a small group of North Carolinians led by James Maddox, Charles Lambeth, and others met in Chapel Hill to form the North Carolina affiliate of the American Civil Liberties Union. And at that time, it was called the North Carolina Civil Liberties Union. The group formed to aid University of North Carolina students in their protest of the speaker ban, which was a state law that forbade so-called radicals from speaking at state universities. So in 1966, we challenged the law in court on behalf of the UNC student body president. And in 1968, a federal court delivered the ACLU of North Carolina one of its first victories by ruling that the speaker ban violated North Carolina's free speech rights. And so for much of our history, the ACLU of North Carolina has relied on volunteers and cooperating attorneys, never having more than a few staff members until the 2000s, often just an executive director and an assistant. At our 50th anniversary in 2015, we had 7 full-time staff members. Today, we have more than 20 staff members and 2 offices across the state, an office in Raleigh and an office in Charlotte. The growth has mirrored the ACLU nationally, and we hope to see continued growth. And so when we first started, there were only 300 dues paying ACLU members in the state at that time. So historically, people who are politically marginalized are the people people who are politically marginalized because of their race, gender identity, or classes are the ones who are most likely to have their rights threatened. So if any institution can violate a person's right, they can use power against anyone and everyone. So we work in the courts, of course, filing lawsuits, and at the General Assembly, as I stated earlier, lobbying for and against bad legislation or good legislation. And we are also in the streets, and we do that to stop the erosion of civil liberties before it is too late. And that's where you guys come in. The rights and liberties of Black and Brown people, LGBTQIA plus people, and low-income people have not yet been fully realized or protected. And that's why we're working to expand our advocacy and policy work to match the historic strength of our legal program. And you are a part of this movement. So we have certain focus areas at the ACLU of North Carolina. So we achieve our goals using an integrated advocacy model, meaning everything I've said in the previous slides. I'm gonna keep saying these things over and over again so you can understand the deep intentional way in which we work as a team. So we use litigation, we use legislation, policy, organizing, and our communications team to get to the win for our communities. We work on racial and social justice, including policing, the criminal legal system, immigrants' rights, like LGBTQIA rights, voting rights, and reproductive freedom. And this is a quote by Martin Luther King that says, "Life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others?" So now I'd like to talk to you a little bit about you, the ACLU volunteer. As I stated earlier, we have a long history of working with volunteers. In fact, this organization would not exist without our volunteers. We were founded by volunteers, and we know that you are the ACLU. You are our power. So please stay with us and keep supporting us as we find more ways to shape our local communities, North Carolina and beyond. It is no secret that we are in the fight of our lives, quite literally. Together, we can dare to create a more perfect union. And so I'm going to share next a few ways that you all can get involved. And hopefully this is the good part that you've been waiting to hear about. Like, what can you do? Because people ask me that all the time. I can't tell you how many emails I get from folks saying, I want to do something, I want to do something. Excuse me, what can I do? So we have advocacy opportunities. We have opportunities for advocacy at the legislature. We have virtual opportunities, and we also have legal observing. We will not do legal observing tonight. I'll just let you know what it is, and we'll have that training in the future. So you can help us watch the legislative session. Now you can do this in person by coming to 15 West Jones Street in Raleigh to the North Carolina General Assembly. Be forewarned, folks in there do not wear masks, and there is no requirement for masks in the building. It is being, you know, the majority party in our state is the Republican Party. And so they have not required masks or encouraged their members or their staff to wear masks. And so you can go in if you would like, excuse me, or you could watch from home. And so we can talk more about that if that's something that you would like to do. But there's a way that you can help us. There are so many bills, y'all, so many committees. We can't be in all the spaces at all the times. And so it is, and because we know how the legislature historically has worked to chip away at civil liberties by sneaking things in. I just don't know another better way to say it than sneaking things into other bills. There might be a bill that they sneak something into, and it's in a committee that wasn't on our radar, and it can slip past us quite literally. And so we've been lucky that we catch most of the things, but you know, there's no guarantee that we will see every single thing or hear every bad thing that's said in that room. And the reason why that's important is because those bad thoughts and those bad themes and bad narratives, they don't just stay in that room. They reverberate into the future, and people begin to take them as fact. If there's no one in there to either hear that that's being said and combat and you know, debate that or dissent to the craziness that is said, then again, those things reverberate in the room. And the lobbyists, if they're not in the room, they don't know to address it when they are in the building one-on-one with these legislators. So your work to watch these meetings and to take notes and to report back to us would be invaluable, quite honestly. So this is a joke that I put in here. The 2020-21 North Carolina long legislative session, it started in January and there's a question mark. It should end in July normally, but what we've seen the last 7 or 8 years is that we've had a perpetual session, meaning that they kind of shut down ceremoniously a little bit, but for the most part, they don't get anything done. So they keep running sessions, you know, and it just keeps going and going and going. And there's not been a real break in a while. And so we don't know when this session will end. We expect it to end the second week in September for a little while, but that's no guarantee either. Did I go too far? Okay. So for our communications, to help us with our communications, please follow us on social media and recruit 3 or more people to follow us on social media and to join the ACLU. You can join the ACLU for as little as $5 a month. I mean, excuse me, for as little as $5. A one-time donation of $5 and you can become a member. And so take action by signing up for our action alerts and people power texts. You can organize an event in your community. You can help organize a public education forum on the behalf of the ACLU on a priority issue that we're working on. You can table at a community event ranging from the farmers market to the General Assembly. You can tell your story. You can help us with blogs, op-eds, phone banking. You can be a lead volunteer, leading canvassing and phone banking and doing electoral work during election cycles and much more. So, vote riders. I'm gonna tell you a little bit about vote riders. I don't know if Pam Pearson, who is the North Carolina representative for vote riders, is in the audience tonight, but hopefully you are, Pam, and please put your information into the chat if you are. But vote riders is perfect for people who have an irregular schedule. And vote riders, let me just tell you what they do. So, you know, North Carolina passed a constitutional amendment that would require that all people who want to vote have to have a photo ID. So because that is caught up in the courts right now, the law is not being enforced. But vote riders says, listen, this may very well become, it's already law, it may very well start being enforced and come out of the courts. And it very well may stand as a constitutional amendment requiring that people have an ID in order to vote. So what they've done is they help cut through the confusion and help people secure the ID that they need right now. And why I really appreciate working with them is because they prioritize not just poor people, Black and brown people, but they prioritize people coming home from incarceration. And that is so important because when people come home from incarceration, oftentimes they don't have the documents that they need to verify who they are, except for prison ID. And not having anything but a prison ID can be detrimental. Number one, you're exposing the fact that you've just come home from prison to potential employers, potential landlords, you know, just people in general. And it just really can be a barrier. They oftentimes don't have their social security cards, the birth certificates, or any of the underlying documents that people need in order to get their ID. And here in North Carolina, the great thing is this, is once a person is released and they've completed all the conditions of their sentence, their right to vote is automatically restored. There's nothing that they have to do to restore their right to vote once they've completed the terms and conditions of their sentence. And so we are working with vote riders to ensure that folks have their ID so that they can live. And number two, so they can register and get registered to vote and learn more about being civically engaged and just assist them. And so vote riders helps folks do that. I'm trying to, oh goodness, my computer is acting slow and then acting fast. Like right now it's stuck. I don't know why, but it'll come unstuck in just a second. Okay, so this is an opportunity to make an immediate impact, as I stated, directly helping someone secure the ID that they need. And so what does that look like? Well, you organize and work in person at voter ID clinics hosted by vote riders, if you would like to, and their partner organizations that include schools, food banks, churches, probation offices, temporary housing facilities, and shelters. So if you have any judgments about any of those places, please do not volunteer to work in these spaces because you're going to be working with people who, again, are coming home potentially from prison, for people who are marginalized, who are traumatized, and who oftentimes just need a lot of help. And if you aren't able to just really be patient with people and help people, this might not be the best for you, but that's okay because we got other stuff for you to do. But if this is something that you can do, you would provide virtual ID help to folks who have requested assistance. You work one-on-one with them on your schedule. So you can help confirm DMV appointments, coordinate their transportation, because not only do you help make them their appointment, but Vote Riders pays for their ride to and from the DMV to get their license or their ID. And a new opportunity that just came up that we're really excited about is helping LGBTQIA+ folks navigate getting a name change on their identification. And so Vote Riders is now doing that. So making sure that folks' name matches who they are today and getting an ID that represents that so people feel safe and secure. So we also have lots of events. Well, prior to COVID, we had lots of events that we would partner and attend different events in the community, and tabling is a thing. So that's basically where we go in, we set up a table, we have information for everybody. People can sign up for our emails, become a member, just talk to everybody, get swag, t-shirts, pins, you know, just different things, know your rights, pocket constitutions. We have lots of swag that we give away. But you are expected to cover this table, and you know, we want you to greet folks. Ask them if they've ever heard of the ACLU. What do they know about? Sorry, y'all. This is just bad because my thing is slow, and so it just acts crazy. But anyway, we expect for you to greet everyone, asking them if they're familiar with the ACLU of North Carolina and telling them about our issue areas and goals. You don't have to be an expert. People ask me stuff, y'all, and I'd be like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And it's okay to not know. And it's okay to say, I don't know. But if they have a serious issue, like something about they need to talk to an attorney, then we direct them to our website and tell them how to get in contact with our legal department through our intake form. We do not give out any legal advice. We are not attorneys. Some of us are, but even our attorneys do not give out legal advice. We ask people to sign up for our emails and our memberships. We let people know that, again, we are nonpartisan and nonprofit, and we work for everyone's rights and everyone's civil liberties. And we don't get into debates with community members because we ask people to engage, and if they consent, tell them more about us. If they don't want to hear about us, they don't. We're not going to argue with folks. And I also encourage you not to be, if someone is being disrespectful to you or to whatever, to the event, to just not engage in a safe way and try to disengage as safely as possible. So, and then we also have legal observing. A legal observer is someone who attends a rally, a protest, a march, or other First Amendment activity just to watch. And the sole purpose is to ensure that the folks who are protesting that their rights are not violated. And you would document police interaction with the protesters. Again, you document police interaction with protesters, and you document interactions between protesters and counter protesters, okay? Be our eyes and ears during a protest and bear witness, but there will be a separate training in the future if you are interested in doing this. We will not go through the legal observing training tonight, okay? A little slow computer, y'all. I don't know why it's being like this. I do apologize. While it's getting itself together, I'll tell you about how we'll do scheduling. Once we complete this training tonight, I will send everyone who attended a link to our Sign Up Genius, where we will have our opportunities listed for people, the ways that people can get involved. It finally came up. So we will be using Sign Up Genius, which is really easy. When we have an opportunity, we will have a certain amount of slots available along with the dates and the times and all the location, and then you sign up, and then we remind you that you are due to, to do the shift, et cetera, et cetera. So you really get to choose how you engage versus how you don't engage. With Vote Riders, you're going to, if you would like to get in contact with them, you get in contact with, I can put you in contact with them directly. So other ways you can help, again, promote our legislative agenda and take actions that come to your email, such as petitions, sign-on letters, messages directly sent to elected officials. You can become a member, you can donate, you can host a fundraiser if you would like to. And be on the lookout for constitutional violations and use our mobile app. If you have not heard of our mobile app, we have an app. It's the Mobile Justice app. And if you look at it in the App Store and the Google Play Store, it has a blue background with a red fist, and the name of it is Mobile Justice. And in that app, it detects your location, it connects with the ACLU of North Carolina servers, and you can automatically start recording any interaction that you would need to record. And if the police or whomever takes your phone, that video goes directly to our servers. And so our paralegal, Michael, gets an email alert when something's been uploaded, and then the legal team reviews it and looks, and it also captures like your email, because when you set up, you can put like your email, your phone number, so that we have your contact information. And it's really good if you get pulled over, or if you see someone who's getting pulled over, or if you are at an action, a First Amendment action. It's the Mobile Justice app is a really good app to have to capture those important moments of what's happening. So we have some events coming up, you know, here in North Carolina, in the South, you know, in the rest of the country, Pride is in June over the summer, but I believe that it's too hot. And that's why in the South, traditionally, historically, we have prides in the fall as opposed to the heat of the summer. But fall means pride. And so these are the places where we will have tables set up. September the 4th will be in Silva, which is their first pride that Silva, North Carolina is having. And it's way out in the mountain area. September 18th, we'll be here in Charlotte. September 19th, we'll be in Greensboro. And then September 25th, and we'll be in Asheville at the Blue Ridge Pride, and we'll be at the Duke University for Durham Pride. And so if you are interested in any of those cities, please let us know, and we will have a schedule of what you can do. I can tell you that as someone who does the prides pretty often, the most helpful thing besides the tabling and answering questions is set up and break down. So even if you don't have all day or 2 or 3 hours, if you can come in the morning and help us set up, and then when the pride is over, come help us break down. Because I could really tell you when it's time to go home, because when it's time to go home, oh Lord, you just be wanting the stuff to just magically get into the bins. And that doesn't always happen. So even if you can't do a 2 or 3 hour shift at a pride, even if you can just help us, you know, for 30 to 45 minutes set up and break down, that would be helpful as well. And it still don't want to move. Look, it's done went through everything. Ain't that sad? So also, we used to have an opportunity where we would allow folks to not allow, but we would train folks on how to court watch, and they could court watch in their various courts in their counties. But due to COVID, we've postponed that. And here in Mecklenburg County, where I live, court has been closed all week because there is a COVID outbreak amongst court staff. And what I've seen across the state over the last year of the pandemic, that even if the court is open, they're limiting the courtroom to folks who have actual business in the courtroom so that they can maintain social distancing for the staff and for people who are either defendants or are plaintiffs or whatever their situation is. But court watching is a positive way for concerned groups and individuals to address problems of bias within the system by documenting when these myths and stereotypes are carried into the courtroom and how they undermine justice in our communities. When it is safe to enter those public spaces again, we will offer court watching training to those who would like to participate. And another opportunity that we have, just as an ACLU event that you might want to attend and get on your radar, is we are launching on August 31st at 6:30, the People's University. And what will the People University be? It is an educational series that focuses on both civic and political education and will help participants understand the governmental process and potential ways to shape or disrupt that process to challenge white supremacy. And our vision is that the community will become energized through the shared understanding of how the government shapes their experiences and opportunities. And so I am super duper excited for us to spend our fall learning more about the government, how it works, the budgets, how they work, and how to reimagine and dream of a society that actually addresses the needs of the people and centers the needs of the people. So this is my information, Christy Puckett Williams, kwilliams at ACLU of NC.org. You can always go to our website if you have any more questions, but that is it as far as the training is concerned, everyone. Hold on, I'm trying to get my screen together so that I can stop sharing and see. I know, are y'all seeing? I can't even see what y'all are seeing right now because my computer is really acting up tonight. Okay. All right. So let me see. I'm going through the questions. I see people from Asheville, from Winston-Salem, Cary, Charlotte, Durham, Henderson. Oh man. This is really great. There's so many people. So I'm getting ready to see if there are any questions. Are we set up regionally? So we have, again, offices in Raleigh and we have an office in Charlotte. And so I cover the entire state though. So we recently completed the Prison Solidarity Tour and we went from basically to all 100 counties. We're starting the Confederate Monument Tour here soon, where the Confederate monuments are located at courthouses, because there are over 40 Confederate monuments at courthouses. And so we will be going on that tour. So we get around the state pretty good, even though we only have offices in 2 areas. We ourselves, our bodies are in lots of spaces across the state. Oh, the Outer Banks. Oh, well, now I will be in Elizabeth City here soon to continue support. And I have questions. I'm from Southern Pines. Oh, V, I'll put it in the chat. Do y'all have any questions? It's okay if you don't. This is that means I was clear and did my job well. If you don't have any questions, we can end early. If you do, stay in, put them either in the chat or in the Q&A. So when you sign up for Pride, I will be sending again a link to our, when we send to everyone who participated tonight, we'll send a recording, you know, a transcript, all that good stuff. I'll send the slides so that you can refer back to the slides if you need to. But then we will also, that's when I will also send you the link to the Sign Up Genius. And in that Sign Up Genius, you'll have access to all the dates and you can sign up into the slots that you feel like signing up into. Okay. And the best way to get invested with vote riders, let me pull up Pam's information. I thought she might be here, but you know, she might have I'm gonna put her information. It's Pam at voteriders.org. Let her know that you attended the training here at the ACLU, and she'll be glad to train you specifically on how to help folks. Oh, Pam is here. Good, Pam's in the chat. Thank you, Pam, for being here. And like I said, Pam does an amazing job. You have to have the patience of Job now, y'all. So don't be trying to do it if you don't have patience, because the DMV is something else. Okay, like due to COVID, there was already something before COVID. So y'all know that if you've been living in North Carolina for a while, you already know DMV was off the chain. It was hard to access DMV prior to COVID. So just imagine what COVID has done. What the strain of COVID has put onto an already understaffed, underfunded department, and add in folks coming home and needing one-on-one individualized attention and not being able to get that just because the staff is overwhelmed or because they have to access everything online and they haven't been online. So yeah, and yeah. And you want to help people vote. But yes, it is an amazing exercise of patience. And it's a good way, again, to be of service and to even inform people. You wouldn't believe the amount of people who get told erroneous information by their probation officer who tells them, oh, you're a felon, you'll never vote again. You can't vote in North Carolina ever again. And that's just simply not true. And so a lot of what you'll be doing for folks is encouraging them to vote, but also dispelling a lot of those myths that exist around who can vote and who has access to voting. Let me see if I see anything else. You can, so yes, monitoring local government, county, and city boards, that's where the People's University is going to come in, because what we'll be doing is teaching you the skills to monitor those boards and as a way to effectuate change the end goal is to learn more about how government works and how the budgeting process works so that we can reimagine a budget and a legislative agenda. And that's going to require us listening into all of these meetings at these various levels of government. So yes, we will be doing that as well. Let me see, I see another question over here. Still don't see my contact information. It might, let me type the answer in here, V. K. Williams at ACLU of NC.org is the number, is the email address. Hopefully you can see that. All right, I'm gonna keep sitting here for a moment. Where am I? Oh, we are not offering the legal observing training at this moment. When we do, we will send out an email letting you know when that's happening, but that's not happening right now. Yeah, because not just because, but there are some laws that are really bad legislation that that could potentially impact civil rights and civil liberties. HB 805 is a really bad bill that seeks to criminalize people for protesting. And what we have seen is that especially on the ground in Elizabeth City, well, in Charlotte and in other places, we've seen reporters get arrested. Myself and an attorney got arrested as legal observers, right? There were legal observers who were accosted by police and drug away from a protest when literally their job is to legally observe what is happening, and it's actually protected behavior, right? And we have seen an increase in violence towards people. And so that's why the legal observing is still being evaluated as to the level of risk, because again, we were arrested while legally observing. And so it has its high points, but it also has its very low points. And so we really want to be cautious about how we ask people to engage that could lead them to being harmed by the system. I'm a notary public. Would that be helpful with vote riders? Pam, would that be helpful with you, Pam, having someone be a notary? I don't know if it would be helpful for us because some of our attorneys are, but depending on where you are, right? Because we get asked, questions from people all over the state. So like if you're not in Raleigh or if you're not in Charlotte and you're in a remote area, that could be a real use to people. I think Pam has the same question. Let me see, I have another Q&A over here. I don't see it either. Y'all don't see, can y'all not see the chat, Bruce? I know Daniel has put it in as well into the chat. I think what's happening is the chat is moving up and down. The chat, sometimes if people keep typing, it can move things up, but it's in the chat several times, but I'll keep putting it in there for you guys. K. Williams at ACLU of NC.org. And again, please feel free to reach out with any questions that you may have. Sometimes it might take me a day or two to respond, depending on how many emails I have, because I do get quite a few, but I answer them in the order in which I get them. So nobody really moves to the top. All right, I'm not seeing too many other questions. If we don't have any questions, we'll go ahead and end early. You got 20 minutes back in your life that you had planned to be here with me. I'm glad that this was informative enough. This is really helpful to me that it's informative enough to where there's not really a lot of questions, which is good. Didn't want to overwhelm you with too much information, but I also didn't want to not give you enough information to feel like you had enough information to make a decision. And I'll constantly be sending emails, not constantly, I ain't gonna fill up your email box. What I mean is, but we'll be in contact as much or as little as you would like to be about the work that we're doing and how we do that work, all right? So we will see you all later. Thank you so much for attending. If you are in Mecklenburg County, I live in Mecklenburg County, and I am in Mecklenburg County on the weekends. During the week, I am in Raleigh during the session until a couple weeks from now. And so in September, I'll be back in Charlotte full time. All right. If you want to get up, let me know. Talk to you soon. Bye.